The Oscars are a little under a year away, so of course it is the perfect time to be doing a tier list of 50 possible contenders. Let's run through this. Adventures of Cliff Booth, I think this is an F. Tarantino is just not having it right now. Just in Hollywood, he is not the guy anymore. This movie looks fine, but it just doesn't really stand out. If David Fincher could not get in with The Killer, I don't think he will get in with Adventures of Cliff Booth. All of a Sudden is Ryusuke Hamaguchi's newest movie. His last movie, Evil Does Not Exist, did not get any Oscar attention, but his movie before that, Drive My Car, was a big Oscar contender. So what's going to happen with this movie? Well, I think that it could be a bit of a player because it is kind of a European movie. It takes place in France, and he's going to be able to use his directing style but in a European setting, and I think that could play really well at the Oscars, who definitely have a bias for European filmmaking. But for now, I'm going to put this in C. Artificial is Luca Guadagnino's newest movie, where Andrew Garfield plays Sam Altman. Could be great, could be a bit of a bummer, but I'm leaning towards great, just because this mix between biopic and Guadagnino's direction with Andrew Garfield just is too good for me to pass up. I'm going to put this in the B tier. Tony Gilroy is leaving Star Wars and making this new movie Behemoth, where Pedro Pascal plays a musician going to visit or revisit his family in LA, the family also being filled with musicians. I don't know anything else about this movie. And Gilroy is a great director. He made Michael Clayton. He made both seasons of Andor. He is allegedly the reason why Rogue One is as good as it is. So where do we land with Behemoth? Well, who knows if it's going to come out this year. Even if it does, Searchlight is distributing another film that they're going to be pushing super, super hard. So Behemoth could just end up being a movie that gets released, is received well critically, and not much else. I'm going to put this in the D tier. Sian Heder, the director of Coda, is back this year with Being Human. This is about Judy Heumann, who led over 100 disabled people to take over a building in San Francisco and stay there for 28 days. It's being released by Apple. Apple is actually pretty good at getting movies into Oscar contention. So I think that this movie has a decent shot. I'm going to be putting it in the B tier. Anybody who thinks Bucking Fastard is going to be an Oscar contender is out of their mind. Director Werner Herzog has only received one Oscar nomination before, and that was in 2009 for a documentary. Bucking Fastard is an F tier. Tom Ford is back, making his first movie in 10 years with Cry to Heaven. It sounds really interesting. It's about two different singers. It was filmed in Rome. Nicholas Hoult, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Adele, that is just some of the cast. I'm going to actually be putting this in the A tier. I think that if it plays at Venice, it will be received super well and could be a huge contender if the right distributor gets a hold of it. I think if it comes out this year, Chinonye Chukwu's newest movie, Death of a Salesman, a remake of the classic, could be a big contender as well. Jeffrey Wright stars and is supported by Octavia Spencer, Corey Hawkins, and Kelvin Harrison Jr. Previously, she directed Till, and Till was unfortunately a massive Oscar snub, and Daniel Deadwyler did not get the Oscar nomination she deserved. But Jeffrey Wright is a bigger name and somebody who has gotten nominations before and is really due for his Oscar. Not to mention Octavia Spencer. So I think that this movie could genuinely be a big player, especially when it is backed by Focus Features and Amblin. I'm putting this in the A tier. This is worse than Bucking Fastard. Devil Wears Prada 2? It's going to make some money, but it's not a Best Picture movie. Let's be for real. I've seen this in a couple of places. There's just absolutely no way. F tier. Inarritu has been a divisive filmmaker, and now here he is with Digger, which could be Tom Cruise's chance to win an Oscar. But because of the divisive direction, this could go one of two ways, in being a great movie that gets a bunch of Oscar nominations, or a movie that just leads to Cruise getting some Oscar attention, but the movie itself being mixed and not getting much attention outside of him and maybe like Sandra Hüller. So I'm going to be putting this movie in the B tier. I don't think Disclosure Day has much of a shot at all with the Oscars. It is already a divisive movie where a lot of people are not liking the visual effects. People are saying that the visual style just falls kind of flat for them. I disagree, but that's what I've seen in a lot of comment sections for these trailers. So even though Steven Spielberg is directing this movie, and even though it might be pretty good, it seems like it will be divisive. And next to the other two major sci-fi Oscar contenders we have this year, I don't think there's enough room for a third. I think Disclosure Day will be the odd man out. I will still put it in the C tier. Ridley Scott has just not been getting Oscar nominations this decade, and I don't think that will change with The Dog Stars. I'm putting this in the D tier. If the drama wanted any chance at the Oscar, it needed to be beloved, like Challengers level beloved. And as of today, Tuesday, March 31st, initial reviews are already relatively divisive. So this movie will not be as beloved as Challengers. A24 has a stacked slate of films. This might make a pretty penny, but it will not bring home the gold, let alone get nominated for the gold. I'm putting this in the F tier. Dune Part 3 is my first lock. I think that of all the films here, it is the most likely movie to just sweep the Oscars flat out. It could fall flat on its face, but I do think it will get a Best Picture nomination almost no matter what. S tier. While David Robert Mitchell's The End of Oak Street looks like a Spielbergian classic, it is still a dinosaur movie. The trailer was great, but it just does not feel like an Oscar player. Maybe it will have a Weapons type just love for it, where even though Weapons was not an Oscar type movie, Amy Madigan broke through. If Ewan McGregor or Anne Hathaway is that good in this movie, maybe one of them could break through, or it could get nominated for some techs. But in terms of Best Picture, I think it's super unlikely. D tier. Powell Pawlikowski's Fatherland could be interesting here. It is set to most likely premiere at Cannes. Sandra Hüller is one of the leads. It is about this German journalist going from the US-controlled part of Germany to the Soviet-controlled part of Germany post-World War II after he was an anti-Nazi journalist. So maybe it'll be really good. Pawlikowski actually did receive a Best Director nomination for his 2018 film Cold War. So I'm going to put this in the B tier. Sebastian Stan and Renata Rensby star in Fjord, directed by Christian Mungiu. This is a neon film considered by many the favorite for the Palme d'Or. Personally, not for me, but I can definitely see where they're coming from. This feels a lot like the sentimental value of Cannes this year, where going into it, neon already has it. It is from a really successful European director. It has both Renata Rensby and another mostly American actor who is doing something pretty different from what we normally see him in. It could totally get a Best Picture nomination. I think it will get an award at Cannes. I don't think it will be the Palme d'Or. Maybe it will be the second place prize, kind of like what happened with Sentimental Value. We'll see. I'm gonna put this in the A tier. Here Comes the Flood is Fernando Moraes' newest film. It has Denzel Washington, Robert Pattinson, and Daisy Edgar-Jones in the cast. It is an unconventional heist film, and it's a Netflix movie. With all of that being said, I think that this just might be a blockbuster type film for Netflix and not as much of an awards player, even though Moraes previously made The Two Popes, which was a solid awards nomination receiver. So I'm gonna put this in the C tier in case, because maybe there's a chance, but I think that Netflix just has too busy of a slate for this film to come through. I Love Boosters is the newest film from Boots Riley and was hyped up to be a Oscar contender for Neon by Neon. Since then, it premiered at South by to solid reviews, but not excellent ones. It does not seem to be a Best Picture player anymore, so I'm going to put this in the D tier. I think Sylvester Stallone has got to be on Hollywood's blacklist at this point, so I'm going to be putting his biopic, I Play Rocky, in the D tier. Ink is Danny Boyle's newest movie, and it is a biopic about Rupert Murdoch. Jack O'Connell and Guy Pearce are both in the cast. Could be really interesting. They don't have a distributor yet. It'll probably come out this year, but we don't know for certain. He's great with these biopic movies, but I do think that there are a lot of biopics coming out this year, and this seems to be one of the smaller ones and could just get lost in the sauce. I'm putting it in the C tier. Is God Is Alicia Harris's directorial debut. It's about two sisters seeking revenge on their father. The trailer looked great, but this does seem more like an action thriller type movie. I'm expecting really good things from it, but for an action thriller to have enough sustained buzz to be a Best Picture contender after coming out in May, that is not very likely. Maybe I am completely off base here, but from where I'm standing, Is God Is seems just like a fun time at the movies rather than an awards time at the movies. I'm going to be putting this in the D tier. Jack of Spades is the newest movie from Joel Cohen, starring Josh O'Connor. We don't really know much about this movie, but his last film, Tragedy of Macbeth, did not get nominated for Best Picture, but it did get Denzel Washington nominated for Best Actor. This movie was said to be a Cannes contender, but now, from what I've read, it will not be coming out at Cannes, so I guess it's a fall festival movie. I don't know whether or not that means it got denied from Cannes or just is not ready in time for Cannes, but either way, that just, I don't know, I raised a little bit of an eyebrow at that because this movie was filmed quite a bit ago. I'm going to put it at the bottom of the C tier. Josephine is Beth De Araujo's Sundance hit, although it is a very tragic film, so calling it a hit might not be the right way to describe it. It did win the top jury prize at the festival, but then unfortunately got picked up by Sumerian Pictures. Now this movie kind of feels dead in the water. Maybe Sumerian could surprise, but right now I'm not expecting it. I will put this just in the middle of the C tier because who knows, but it just feels super unlikely. Klara and the Sun is Taika Waititi's newest movie. I think that's all I need to say. It's going in the D tier. A Long Winter is Andrew Haig's newest movie, his last one being All of Us Strangers. It is about a family preparing for a long winter after autumn comes to an end. Maybe it could be an awards player, but this is also a movie film, and movie did not do well at the Oscars at all last year. I think A Long Winter could end up not being a movie that gets nominations. I'm gonna put it in the C tier, but I have a lot of hesitation to even do that. Look Back is one of two movies that we're gonna talk about from director Hirokazu Koreeda, and probably the far weaker of the two. It is a remake of an animated short that was really well animated. A short that I watched and cannot imagine being translated to live action. When I heard about this, I thought that it was a joke because the animation was just so strong and prevalent where it seemed impossible for live action to be able to capture that magic. I'm not considering Moana as a Best Picture contender, so I'm not going to be considering Look Back as one either. This is going to go in the F tier. David O. Russell sucks. And apparently his newest movie, Madden, must suck enough for Amazon to not even have enough confidence to put it in theaters, with it set to release straight to Prime Video. Sure, it stars Nicolas Cage, Christian Bale, John Mulaney, and Kathryn Hahn, but I don't think that they're going to be enough to keep this film from not winning any awards. I'm putting Madden in the F tier. I used to be lower on Michael, but I am starting to reach a point where this movie feels too big to fail. Unless it is terrible, I think audiences are really going to eat it up. And Antoine Fuqua, although not the most consistent director, not the best director in the world. He knows how to make a movie look good. And that was enough for Bohemian Rhapsody, so that just might be enough for Michael. I'm putting Michael in the B tier. Misty Green is Chris Rock's newest movie. It is being distributed by A24. Adam Driver and Daniel Kaluuya are both in the supporting cast for this. Kaluuya is really selective with his projects. Him being attached to this film is an amazing sign, in my opinion. Sure, some of the things he attaches himself to are just more because they are great on their own and not awards type of films. Look at Across the Spider-Verse. But a lot of what he does end up getting awards attention. Judas and the Black Messiah, Get Out, Black Panther. He's really good at doing that. And I think Misty Green could be a movie that really rises once it premieres at fall festivals or wherever it premieres. For now, I'm going to be putting it at the top of the C tier. Greta Gerwig has released 3 movies: Lady Bird, Little Women, and Barbie. What they all have common is that they all got nominated for Best Picture. I don't expect that to change for Narnia. I know a lot of people do. I know that Narnia is on the distant outside in a lot of Best Picture top 10s, but I am not going to doubt Greta Gerwig until I am given a reason to doubt her. I am yet to be given a reason. Narnia is in the S tier. And so is the Odyssey. I don't have to explain myself. It's the Odyssey. It's Christopher Nolan. It's Matt Damon. It's that insane cast. It's the insane budget this movie had. It's the fact that this movie is going to be really solid. It's going in the S tier. Paper Tiger reunites Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson for their first movie together since Marriage Story. It also has Miles Teller as one of the leads, but it is directed by James Gray. And Gray has only received an Oscar nomination for Ad Astra. His other movies just do not get nominated, so this will probably be a great movie, but Oscar contender, maybe with that good of a cast, but James Gray being the filmmaker is troubling. I will be putting this in the C tier. And my pick for the Palme d'Or is Asghar Farhadi's newest movie, Parallel Tales. This features multiple different perspectives from the 2015 Paris bombings, and I expect Farhadi to have a really interesting perspective here. He is an Iranian filmmaker. This is his first French movie from a French perspective, it seems. Vincent Cassel's in the cast. Given his background, I would think that his filmmaking perspective would be one that has sympathy and humanity, and one that is not Islamophobic. One that does not idolize police or the military or anything like that. I expect this movie to be honest, and I think honest is something that could play really well at Cannes. I think it's something that could play really well at the Oscars, given what is going on in the world right now. This is a bold prediction. I'm putting it in the A tier. I could be completely off base here. This movie just might not do well at Cannes and then not come out until like a year or 2 from now, and then I'll see it and be like, all right, well, I'm glad I got to see that movie. Michelle Williams, Daisy Edgar-Jones, and Andrew Scott star in A Place in Hell. This is the newest movie from director Chloe Dumont, her follow-up to Fair Play, and it seems kind of similar to Fair Play. Fair Play being about like a business succession plan that did not go in the favor of one of those characters. This seems to be an attorney succession plan that doesn't go in the favor of one of the attorneys, where one attorney has been a part of a company for a long time and a new attorney comes in and puts the other attorney's job in some sort of jeopardy. I don't think it will be an Oscar contender because Fair Play was not an Oscar contender. A Place in Hell is going in the D tier. Lee Chang-dong's Possible Love is his newest film in a while, but it feels kind of like clickbait to me when it comes to the awards. He is yet to be nominated for an Oscar, and this is a super crowded year in terms of Oscar contenders from what I'm seeing right now. And even though this is a Netflix movie, I think Netflix has a few other movies that they will be prioritizing over this. Personally, I'm expecting it to play on Netflix more like Nouvelle Vague or Left-Handed Girl instead of Train Dreams. Possible Love for me is going in the D tier. Prima Facie stars Cynthia Erivo and is directed by Susanna White, while White's film directing background is not super impressive. She does have a really solid miniseries and TV directing background, so this could be a really good film. It is about Erivo, who plays this lawyer who defends clients who are accused of sexual assault, but then she herself experiences sexual assault and must come to a decision between like her job and the law or true criminal justice. I think Erivo will probably give a really good performance, and maybe that'll get some awards attention. I don't think it'll lead to the movie as a whole getting awards attention, so Prima Facie is going to go in the D tier. Primetime is an A24 movie starring Robert Pattinson, who plays a journalist who tries to uncover pedophiles, essentially. It's directed by Lance Oppenheim, who is most known for documentaries like Sperm World. This is going to be his first fiction feature film. An Oscar contender? Probably not. I'm putting this in the D tier. You all already know Project Hail Mary. You've all probably already seen Project Hail Mary. This will most likely be a really big Oscar contender. Phil Lord and Chris Miller did a good job making the most crowd-pleasing movie they possibly could have made. And that will probably play really well with the Academy. It is a beloved movie at this point, doing super well at the box office, so I'm going to put it at the top of the A tier. Brad Pitt plays an Australian in Edward Berger's newest movie as he travels around Europe with his daughter in search of his wife. This will probably just be another Edward Berger movie that does not get any Oscar attention and just really focuses on one main male character who goes through some sort of journey. Oscars, I think, are out of the question. I am putting The Riders in the F tier. The Rivals of Amziah King was a super buzzy movie coming out of South by Southwest last year. Since then, they could not find a distributor, so Black Bear will be distributing the movie themselves in August. I'm super excited to watch it, but since it came out in South by so long ago, and since then reviews have just become a bit more divisive, now having a 3.6 on Letterboxd with a really interesting looking curve, I don't think it will be an awards player. Putting this in the D tier. Saturn Return is the newest film directed by Greg P. Quidar, where he again works with Clint Bentley. They last worked on Sing Sing, where Quidar was directing, and then Bentley directed Train Dreams. So here they are with this new movie. Netflix will be distributing it. I am personally of the mind that the two big Netflix movies this year will be Narnia in the Frankenstein role, and then Saturn Return in the Train Dreams role. So for me, Saturn Return will be going in the B tier. Sheep in the Box is the other movie from Hirokazu Koreeda on this list. It is currently listed as being distributed by Toho, but that might change. I think that this movie is more likely to be an Oscar contender than Look Back. It is about a couple who in the near future take a humanoid boy into their home and raise him as their son. This still just does not feel like a movie totally in the Academy's ballpark. I'm gonna put this in the D tier. The Social Reckoning is Aaron Sorkin's unofficial sequel to The Social Network, this time starring Mikey Madison and Jeremy Allen White as young journalists, or I think Jeremy Allen White might be playing somebody that works at Facebook, and Madison is playing a journalist. And then none other than Kendall Roy himself, Jeremy Strong, will be playing the Zuck. I think that this could be a really fun time. I'm not gonna lie. I'm excited for this movie. Aaron Sorkin movies at least get their actors nominated for Oscars. But this could end up being a really fun Sorkin movie. And really fun Sorkin movies tend to do a bit better than that at the Oscars. So I'm going to put this towards the top of the C tier. Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma is the newest film from Jane Schoenbrunn and is being distributed by Mubi. This film is actually set to premiere at Cannes. I don't know yet if it will be in competition or just a midnight type of premiere, but either way, that's amazing for this film. Jane Schoenbrunn is a beloved director after I Saw the TV Glow. This movie will hopefully follow in the footsteps of that one. But Schoenbrunn does not really direct awards type of movies. She is a really strong genre director and is a super interesting director, but I'm not going to go out on a limb and predict this movie as a top Oscar contender. Instead, I'm going to play it a little safer and put it at the top of the D tier. I think Matt Johnson could have his big break finally in terms of awards with Tony, the Anthony Bourdain biopic starring Dominic Sessa, Antonio Banderas, Emilia Jones, and Leo Woodall. Johnson is an excellent director. We saw that with Blackberry. We more recently saw that with Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. Tony will probably be fantastic. That's what I expect from him at this point. I think he's going to deliver. I think that this is going to be one of the better biopics that we've had in a long time. I'm putting this movie in the B tier. Jesse Eisenberg is climbing the filmmaking ladder, and now he has landed on making a musical comedy with Julianne Moore and Paul Giamatti. This could be A24's big movie. I think alongside Tony, one of those two will probably be like their leading film for this year. Right now I'm leaning towards this musical because the Academy does like a good musical. Jesse Eisenberg proved to be a really solid director and writer with a real pain. I'm putting this in the A tier. Robert Eggers has gotten a little closer with each movie he's made to being a decent Oscar contender, but I don't think Werwulf will move the needle further. I'm just kind of expecting a bloody good time with that Robert Eggers type of style. So I'm going to be putting this in the D tier. Martin McDonagh is back with Wild Horse 9. The trailer looks like a lot of fun. He seems to be going back to his In Bruges style of filmmaking. He's been doing super well at the Oscars with his last two movies. I don't expect that to change here. Wild Horse 9 is going to go in the A tier. And lastly is Wildwood. This looks to be a beautiful animated movie, but animated films just are not breaking into Best Picture as of yet. And I'm not going to predict that to change until I actually see it happen. So I'm putting Wildwood in the F tier. It took a while, but that is my 50 movie Oscar tier list. Please let me know your thoughts on where I rank these movies in the comments down below. What movies was I totally wrong about? Did I underrate some things? Did I overrate some things? I would love to start a discussion about this. Please let me know. And if you would like to watch a video about why a lot of possible big box office hits this year could also be major awards players, please feel free to go and check out my video, Why 2026 Might Save Hollywood. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.